So we talked about this before, but a lot of times you inherit a house and there are tenants living there, or a lot of times it's a family member. One of the heirs is living in the house. How do you usually handle that in the Cincinnati area when there's a tenant in the property? Like, what would you say is probably the most common kind of solution to that?
So the properties that I've bought have been a lot more air based. I actually I have not bought a tenant occupied house. I don't think I've actually ever bought a tenant occupied house. I've had a lot of air occupied houses, and the stipulation, I mean, my stipulation for anything is by the time I take possession, I don't want to have to deal with that. But
Right.
there, I'm buying an empty house with stuff in it. So whatever time frame that takes, let's do the deal to make sure that that happens, because I don't want to have to deal with getting rid of tenants, especially if they're tenants related to the person I'm buying it from.
Now, do you just say you figure it out, or do you help them deal with this situation?
I try to help them deal as much as I possibly can. I mean, realistically, like, you get into a situation, you do what needs to be done to get the deal done. Whether or not that's, like you mentioned, whatever that may be to get the deal done. But it is one of those, like, okay, what do you guys need? What resources do you need? But it's trying to get those done prior to closing. It would be, yeah. Oh, you trying to, here are some references that I have at different places you could go, or is there a house that you're looking for, or do you need, whatever it is. I think that's a lot of what we deal with heirs and tenants and all of that.
Yeah, and you can say, like, look, my wife Christina's an agent. Like, can we find you a house? Like, we could, we'll send you some listings available in this area. You want to be in this area? You want to move here? Here you go. Here's some houses for sale, da 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 da, or houses for rent. I know we've done that before, where we'll say, here's 5 houses for rent. You call them, and there you go, right? Because some of these people just don't know how to look for that sort of stuff. Maybe they've never probably rented a house in their life, and they just don't know how all that works, and you just helping them get there is a huge part of the process.
That's true. Having all of the different pieces, that's been a huge thing that I've realized in the years of doing this. Is I do this all the time. These people may do this once,
right?
And you can there's a fine line to walk there, where you can come in and just have this very kind of cocky, just trust me attitude. Or you can have this, I've done this before. Here's what I've learned. Take my word for it. Or go go talk to other people. That's fine. This is what I'm saying. The number of times you get a call back that's like, oh yeah, no, you were like, everybody that I've talked to said the same thing. Or, hey, somebody said this. Okay. Yep, that's how this could work because of this. I'm trying to think of an exact situation for that. I just can't off the top of my head, but I've had that multiple times where, what is it? It triangulate. Like, let them, I think so often you get into these situations where it's like, just take the deal, just sign the document. And it's like, no, that's not how I work. Whatever, like, you like the number, let me know. Yes, it technically has an expiration on it. That's really just to protect me from you coming back in 4 years saying, well, aren't you going to do this? And me saying, no, the contract's expired. But at the end of the day, if I give you a number, that's the number. If we give you a number, that's the number we're going to go with.
Right. Barring any crazy market change, which we saw that back in 2022, the market change that actually in 2022 was the fastest in history that the most interest rates have gone up in the shortest amount of time ever in history in the fall of 22. Yeah. You saw the change. I saw the change. It put a hurting on a lot of us because the market shifted really fast. We've never seen it change that fast before. Even in 08, it didn't even happen that fast.
Oh, and it's a totally different story. The end of 22 was a really interesting time to just be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in a month. Everything is changing day by day.
It was like someone slammed on the brakes like that, and it was crazy. But again, to your point, barring any crazy market change, which, I mean, given what's happened in the political environment and And with the Fed cutting interest rates now, when we're making this in January 2025, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, right? But like, I don't think the market's really going to have any crazy, the real estate market's going to have any crazy abrupt changes. I could be totally wrong. It could happen tomorrow, right? But given the data we have available, I don't know that anything's going to change. So yeah, if you make them an offer, I may still, that offer may still apply even though the contract's expired. It may still, I'll still give that to you next month or the month after, right? It's probably still the same. And the reality is home values don't change that quickly. Like they still, even in 2022, values didn't really change much. They went down just a touch, right? But as a percentage wise, they didn't drop a ton, and they bounced back. And it was pretty quickly. So it wasn't like all of a sudden, oh, my offer today is $100 and, or $200,000. And then you come back a week later and it's $150. Like it, you might come back at 3 months later and say, no, my offer is like $195 now instead of $200.
Yep.
Right? Not that much different than it was before. So
absolutely. Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think that one of the things that sets us specifically apart is we value relationships, and we end up making a relationship with whoever's selling this house for whatever period of time that is. It's not a transaction, it's a relationship. And that's really important to us to care about the relationship and to care about actually being true and making good on whatever we say we're going to do.